when you have things that were the most important, biggest, most powerful things in the skyline, and when we're accustomed to believing that the skyline is sort of Darwinian almost, the survival of the fittest. The biggest, strongest things push out the weaker ones. And we also think of it as something organic that grows over time slowly. We're not accustomed to the idea that there's some cataclysmic change, that in an instant something stops, and that the biggest and strongest buildings would suddenly appear to be the most fragile and the most vulnerable. And we look at the skyline now, and the void almost looms bigger than the solid ever did when the Trade Center was there. I think people will care about art more than ever, because as they begin to think that making money and the next quarter's short-term results are not the most important things in life, then they begin to think about, well, what really is important? Relationships, love, children, family, and art sort of fits almost more into thinking of the values that mean something than the values that don't. And so, yes, I think art will continue to have a place, and so long as people care about what makes them human.
Okay, hi everybody. New York is a place where every respectable artist or non-respectable artist will pass. If you have the stamina and the curiosity, you pass by New York. So now I'm working with the whole idea of the double image and reflection, and I'm very much intrigued from it, from the whole idea of reflection and, like looking in the mirror, and it's like going to endless time zones. It's kind of fun.
So are you going to stay?
You know what, I'm thinking about leaving, but I really, there is just, I don't know why I don't leave. I can leave anytime I want. I just close down. I can get another studio, half of the price, much cheaper, and but I'm not. I'm not leaving. I ain't leaving. I'm staying.
A city is where it's like the rings inside a tree, the rings of the generations of wood. In a city, the different generations talk to each other through buildings, and you have to show what's happened. Otherwise, it's just make-believe. Otherwise, it's Disneyland, it's Disney World, it's just a pretend place. So to rebuild the Trade Center exactly as it was would be ridiculous on all kinds of levels. It makes no sense at all. Nobody wants it that way anymore. We've learned how to make architecture better since then. And it's important to show the scars. It's important to show the reality of the history. The Towers of Light idea is just brilliant. It's an incredibly beautiful, exciting, and powerful image to do that. It's putting something positive there when something negative and terrible had happened. And it restores the skyline symbolically, but it also reminds you at every moment that the real mass is gone.
I work with a really wide palette of like sonic timbres, textures, melodic figures, harmonic figures, and because I have things so immediately at my fingertips in so many ways, it makes for a really exciting kind of dancing on the skinny edges of the branches kind of way of making music. It's loud in there. I would like to do more traveling. I would like to live maybe someplace else, but I even, took some travels to Europe this past spring, and I found that there really is a kind of diversity here that you don't get anywhere else in the world. I mean, it's got its problems too, and I think everybody's kind of walking around with bated breath, like, okay, what's the next bad thing that's going to happen now? But I'll see. The one thing is life doesn't stay static, and it keeps moving forward, at least in our experience of a time trajectory.
I don't think the energy will ever be lost. It will not be celebratory in exactly the same way it was. I think it's going to take a long time to bring that back, and it's not going to come back when the world situation is so uncertain and so bad. But in the same way that World War II didn't destroy the energy of New York, it may have put some of it on hold for a little while, but it didn't destroy it. And in fact, it reminds us that a lot of what the city can offer is needed more than ever right now.
I didn't come to New York because I thought that I need the buzz and the energy and all those things. I came to New York because New York for me is like Toronto, that it's one of the few places that you can live where nobody really cares what your heritage or your tradition or your race or your creed or people don't care. All they care really about, in a sense, is the talent. I think there's one thing that tragedy brings us all, which is really an ironic thing, is that we realize that we're all mortal. We realize that we're very limited in the sense of time that we have here. So we realize that each other are really important. So all of a sudden, humans become more human. That's what I've noticed. And I've noticed this emission of vulnerability, where people who were kind of, let's say, relatively cold to me, as possibly because it's only a business relationship or a client or something, all of a sudden they become your best friend because you start to care about each other. And I think that's an incredibly powerful and very beautiful thing. And I'm actually shocked at how much of that kind of emission I've seen globally since the incident. Yeah. It's amazing. I just look at the work I'm doing all over the world and how people need more and more stimuli. They want things that are more, pleasurable and more tactile and more engaging and softer and all. I think that there's tons of adjectives to kind of describe our new world in a sense. So I'm a real believer that things are going to actually, even in a sense, with greater momentum, become more interesting, more engaging, more beautiful.
How would you describe the movement right now? What makes these artists New York?
I would say most of them are actually they're foreign, that have come to New York and chosen to live here. So there are some, of course, that are American. Very few are actually from New York City proper. So it's interesting because they all bring their respective experiences to New York. So it makes for, I guess, the common thread is the fact that they're all different in a way, but at the same time, they're all connected in the sense that it's weird because they all think alike, though they don't really know each other. It's hard to explain. Like they, you know, like 3 different designers, for example, from New York will work with the same color palette. It's like they're all fishing from the same sea, so to speak. But each collection has, you know, its own unique flavor given the person's respective background, where they've come from, their experiences, what they believe in, values, so on and so forth. So it's interesting in that way.
I think that to be here right now, you really have to identify yourself with the US in order to understand why they're doing what they're doing abroad. And I don't feel like I'm in the place to criticize anyone, because I'm actually coming from Germany. And being here right now and just watching this very sort of pro-war sort of mood that's going on is kind of hard for me. At the same time, I can't really give a better solution.
What's it like to play music and be in a band and everything after September 11th?
We definitely have wanted to make a really heartfelt, soulful message, like lose some of the swagger. You know, I think that there's been some lesson to be learned out of all of this about that. We're, like Justin said, we're playing a really stripped down version of what we do. Usually we have samplers and loops and things, and we're getting back down to a really basic, soulful message. We need it. We think it's a good time to have, that people want to hear something that is really genuine and not too manufactured, you know? Destruction and creation, it's the two sides of the same coin. It's an agent of change, whether you think it's destruction or creation, and it's more how you approach that event, whether it was destructive or creative, you know, because the event is the same. Mm-hmm. So I think, yeah, if people take it to heart, and I hope that people do, otherwise it's all meaningless, that there should be an opportunity for growth.
The American flag and flag waving means a very different thing now than it did before September 11th. I mean, a lot of us grew up in an age where we were pretty suspicious of too much overt patriotism. I mean, if you grew up in the Vietnam era, you tended to associate flag waving with people on the other side. There's no question that this is a different time. I've been amazed at seeing how the gap between New York and the rest of America, which was often pretty wide, is now narrower than it's ever been in my lifetime.
Brooklyn has really sort of exploded, especially in the art scene in the last 5 years. Williamsburg and Dumbo have become sort of focal points in the Brooklyn scene, and you see a lot of Manhattanites who would never have thought of going out to Brooklyn for a party or an event or a gallery or something like that, going out there and exploring. And the truth is that there's a lot of very exciting stuff going on out there, and it's a great outlet for some of these artists who wouldn't be able to either afford New York or have the space to do what they want to do. And it's a little bit of a last frontier kind of concept out there. There's a little bit more room and flexibility that there is here in New York.
This would be New York Underground. Yeah, with like propaganda.
Yeah. They'll think I'm a staff. All right, guys. Yeah, we kind of need the light. Yeah, why don't you go ahead, because we need the light.
No, you go first. I'm not going.
Afrobeat is never separate from, as far as I'm concerned. You know, I mean, you have some people that do it, you know, I guess. But Afrobeat, as far as I'm concerned, activism, Afrobeat is
Go ahead and do it.
the same thing.
As an artist, is it practicality that you have your studio space in Williamsburg, in Brooklyn?
I love Williamsburg. I barely even leave Williamsburg to go to the city. I actually, I just think it's a great neighborhood. I think the building I live in, it's all creative people. I think in Manhattan it's a little harder. I always felt like when I lived there I was more scrutinized. I felt like it was harder. I didn't have any studio space. When I was in school, I had a really small studio, and I always felt like this pressure to buy. I don't think that there's opportunity anywhere else like there is in New York, you know, and I mean, I'm from Hawaii, which is, you know, people always think I'm nuts. They're like, what are you doing here? And I could not live in Hawaii unless I was making, you know, flower lay art or pottery or something. What I want to do here is really suited for New York. The thing about New York is that I think that there's always a carrot in front of your nose. You know, I think I could be having a show at the Whitney or you know, doing something incredibly great, and I would still be living here complaining and thinking it was just not enough, and I needed to get something else out of what I was doing.
This whole scene out here is like kind of annoying sometimes because it's all these like hipster types, and I don't know. It can be like really annoying at first. Like a couple years ago, it was like really annoying, but now it's like totally mainstream. So I'm just making pictures about it.
Has anything changed for you since September 11th?
Not really.
And has it affected what you're doing, painting-wise?
No.
What has changed for you since September 11th?
Everything. I'm really scared. You know, I'm not scared. I'm scared to go out and live the life I used to live, which is like travel all over, because I don't want to be hassled by, whatever, like customs and the police. You know, I mean, I'm unfortunately the type of profile guy that, like, even prior to 911, I would always get stopped. You know, I don't really want to live in that kind of world, and I don't need to run around the planet to live my life. I have everything I need here. My wife and children are, 6 blocks away. So, if I go outside the boundaries now, I have to live in this other world, and I don't know if I like it right now.
There's something in the energy of cities that makes for creativity. Yeah. And that's become more and more necessary now that cities are not the essential places to do business. Their real role in our culture is their role in the culture is culture as much as anything else. And so if we give that up because of fear of terrorism, we've given up something incredibly important to us.